Hello and welcome to our evidence tree. We expect that you enjoy this presentation, in which we will talk about female and male reproductive systems, including the intervention of the hormones released by the hypothalamus and pituitary. So let's start talking about the male reproductive system, describing the function and structure of each organ, and the path that the sperm follows from the testes to the urethra. Well, let's start with the penis. It has a long shaft and enlarged tip called the gland pene, which is covered at birth by a layer of foreskin. Its function is to carry out sexual intercourse and urinate. Testes. They are found inside the scrotum, which lie outside of the abdominal cavity, are divided into compartments called lobules, which contain tightly coiled seminiferous tubules. Their function is make sex hormones and produce sperm. Scrotum. It has a long shaft, an enlarged tip called the glans penis, which is covered at birth by a layer of foreskin. Its function is to help to regulate the temperature of the testes by holding them closer or farther away from the body. Epididymis are tightly coiled ducts lying outside the testes. Its function is to be the place where sperm mature. Bulbourethral gland are pea-sized organs that lie below the prostate on either side of the urethra. Its function is to add secretions to the semen. Prostate gland is a single, donut-shaped gland that surrounds the upper part of the urethra just below the urinary bladder. Its function is to add secretions to the semen. Seminal vesicles lie at the base of the bladder, and each has a duct that joins with a vas deferens. Its function is to add secretions to the semen. Vas deferens is a duct, and its function is to be the place where sperm matter is stored. Now, let's describe the path that the sperm follows from the testes to the urethra. The path of the sperm to the urethra begins in the testicles, where it is produced. Then it is sent to the epididymis, and when their sperm is mature, it is housed in the vas deferens. So that at the time of being ejaculated, it travels all the duct of the vas deferens until reach the prostate, where secretions are added to the semen and continue its way through the penis to end its way being ejaculated. Now, continuing with this presentation, let's describe the hormonal regulation of the male reproductive system, explaining which hormones are involved, where they are produced, what their function is, etc. So let's start. The hypothalamus controls the function of the testes because it secretes a hormone called gonadotropin releasing hormone, or its abbreviation GnRH, that stimulates the anterior pituitary gland to secrete the gonadotropic hormones that control the testes. The gonadotropic hormones are follicle stimulating hormone, or the abbreviation FSH, and luteinizing hormone, or its abbreviation LH, and they are found in both males and females. In males, FSH promotes the production of sperm in the seminiferous tubules, and LH promotes the production of testosterone by the interstitial cells. Testosterone is the main sex hormone in males, and it is essential for the normal development and functioning of male sex organs, and is in charge of giving the masculine characteristics to men. All these hormones are controlled by negative feedback mechanisms, which maintain the production of sperm and testosterone within normal range.
Now we are going to talk about the female reproductive system. Oocytes developed to maturity from within a follicle. These follicles are found in the outside layer of the ovaries. During each reproductive cycle, several follicles begin to develop. Typically, only one oocyte each cycle will become a mature egg and be ovulated from its follicle. The ovaries produce the egg cells called the ova or oocytes. The oocytes are then transported to the fallopian tube, where fertilization by a sperm may occur. The fertilized egg then moves to the uterus, where the uterine lining has thickened in response to the normal hormones of the reproductive cycle. Fertilization usually takes place in a fallopian tube that links an ovary to the uterus. If the fertilized egg successfully travels down to the fallopian tube and implants in the uterus, an embryo starts growing. The external genital organs include the mons pubis, lava majora, lava minora, Bartholian glands, and clitoris. Now we are going to talk about how does a female reproductive system work. Well, the female reproductive system provides several functions. The ovaries produce the egg cells called the ova or oocytes. The oocytes are then transported to the fallopian tube, where they are fertilized by a sperm, and the fertilized egg then moves to the uterus, where the uterine lining has thickened in response to the normal hormones of the reproductive cycle. Once in the uterus, the fertilized egg can implant into thickened uterine lining and continue to develop. If implantation does not take place, the uterine lining is shed as a menstrual flow. In addition, the female reproductive system produces female sex hormones that maintain the reproductive cycle. Now, what about the parts of the structure of the female reproductive system? These include the labia majora, or the large lips, that enclose and protect the other external reproductive organs. Then, the labia minora, or the small lips. They have a variety of sizes and shapes. They lie just inside the labia majora and surround the opening to the vagina. So, then we have the Bartholin's glands. These glands are located next to the vaginal opening on each side and produce a fluid mucus secretion. The clitoris. The two labia minora meet at the clitoris, a small sensitive protrusion that is comparable to the penis in males. The clitoris is covered by a fold of skin called the prepuce, which is smaller for the foreskin at the end of the penis. Like the penis, the clitoris is very sensitive to the stimulation and can become erect. Then we have the internal reproductive organs, like the vagina, that is a canal that joins the cervix to the outside of the body. It is also known as the birth canal. The uterus is a hollow pear-shaped organ that is the home to a developing fetus. The ovaries are small, oval-shaped glands that are located on either side of the uterus. And then the fallopian tubes. These are narrow tubes that are attached to the upper part of the uterus and serve as pathways for the ova to travel from the ovaries to the uterus.
Well, and last I'm going to talk about the hormonal reproductive system. The GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone, controls the cycles by stimulating FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, and LH, luteinizing hormone, from the anterior pituitary gland. The duration of the female reproductive cycle typically ranges from 24 to 34 days. In the previous diagram, we are describing a 28-day cycle. Now I'm going to talk about the ovarian and uterine cycle. The ovarian cycle is divided into three parts: the follicular phase, ovulation, and the luteal phase. During the follicular phase, FSH, released by the anterior pituitary gland, stimulates the development of a follicle in one of the ovaries. The follicle matures, oogenesis is initiated and continues, and the epithelial cells of the follicle multiply and secrete the female sex hormones, mainly estrogens. As estrogen levels rise, negative feedback stops the secretion of FSH so that the follicular phase comes to an end. The uterine cycle can be divided into three parts: menstruation, the proliferative phase, and the secretory phase. Menstruation lasts from day 1 to about day 5 and consists of the breakdown of the endometrium with blood passing out of the vagina. The low levels of the female sex hormones cause menstruation to occur. To finish, I'm going to add that the ovarian cycle influences in the uterine cycle when the female hormones estrogen and progesterone produced by the ovaries during the ovarian cycle affect the endometrium, causing the uterus to undergo the cyclic changes known as the uterine cycle. Thanks for watching.